If you enjoy what you hear here today, please consider supporting me on my Patreon page. Every dollar helps, and you get to see content that you won't see here. Chapter 5 Princess. Twilight Sparkle has been one of only 3 ponies in Canterlot, aware of the fact that Princess Celestia is now legally the mother of an athletic Pegasus filly named Rainbow Dash. The 2 young ponies have smoothed over their rocky first impressions and, with Rainbow now housed in her own personal room, life is regaining some semblance of normalcy for young Twilight. She spends her mornings organizing the day ahead, her afternoons attending the primary classes of Celestia's School for Gifted Unicorns, and her evenings are oftentimes spent either learning directly from the princess herself or working towards a project she had been tasked with completing in her own time. But the time is fast approaching when Rainbow Dash must be revealed to the public of Canterlot. Her new status as royalty, no matter how much she doesn't care for it, cannot go ignored. Needless to say, she's not happy.
Yeah!
Rainbow yelped when one of the 2 mares, making sure she looked nice, accidentally pulled a hidden strap on her dress a bit too tight.
Watch it! Pegasus wings have hollow bones, you know.
The mare blushed sheepishly, but was unable to voice any response to the brush in her mouth, and she went back to adjusting Rainbow's mane with a quick stroke. Celestia stood not far away, wearing a dress of her own and gazing out the window of the dressing room they were in. She had a perfect view of the plaza where the golden statue of her cutie mark resided.
I still don't see why I have to be there for this stupid announcement thing,
Rainbow grumbled irritably, shifting uncomfortably in the dress as she was wearing.
I also don't see why I need to be wearing this.
The dress was a bright white for the most part, with some spots of colors matching her rainbow mane in the trail. It had been designed to obstruct Dash's ability to fly as little as possible, while still looking good and complementing her colors. Dash was not fond of the flamboyance of it, no matter how much Celestia tried to get it to work for her.
It's a formality more than anything else. Besides, Equestria isn't aware of your status yet. We don't want to wait too long for them to be made aware of it.
Celestia assured Dash with a warm smile, turning from the window to face her daughter.
Imagine if word suddenly got out that you were my daughter if we waited, say, 2 years. The scandal that ponies would make it out to be would be a disaster to manage. Also, the dress is mostly for your initial public presentation. First impressions are important.
Yeah, about that. I thought you said my status as royalty wasn't going to intrude on my time.
Rainbow quipped with a deadpan frown.
I will keep as much as I can out of your daily life, but I won't be able to keep everything from you, Rainbow Dash.
Okay, cool.
Rainbow grumbled sarcastically before swinging one of her back legs into the trail of her dress.
I still don't like it.
Just let me do the talking. I'll give you your cue and you can wave and that will be that.
Celestia said reassuringly before stepping over and glancing past the curtain leading into the large ceremony chamber.
It's almost time. Finish up, you 2.
The 2 mares tending to Dash nodded quickly before retreating from the room. Rainbow shifted uneasily under the dress once more. She then glanced out to Princess Celestia with an uneasy look coming over her eyes.
Is it bad that I feel nervous about this?
Why would it be bad?
Celestia asked with a mildly amused smile on her face. She charted over to Dash and knelt down to be at her eye level.
'Cause I shouldn't even really care? I mean, I never gave anything like this any kind of thought. It was never really my thing, you know?
Dash mumbled, poking the floor with a hoof.
I should be more antsy just wanting to get this over with.
Celestia nodded before replacing her smirk with a sympathetic smile. She nuzzled Dash comfortingly atop the head.
I think I know why, but we can discuss it after we're done here.
She then stood and signaled to the pony standing by the dressing room door. He nodded before stepping a little ways off to get everything in order.
It's time. Ready?
I mean, what's there to get ready for?
Rainbow said, trying to put on a confident front. And to her credit, it was fairly convincing. Celestia tittered behind her hoof before guiding Dash to follow her. And together, the two stepped out into the ceremony chamber. Twilight hummed to herself contentedly. Spike was nestled up on her back, snoring peacefully, despite Twilight's brisk canter jostling him around slightly. Her horn was alight with lavender magic, carrying about 6 different books on dragon physiology and biology behind her in the air. She had finally gotten a suitably certified adult to assist her with her search into the restricted areas of the archives. Cadence had been quite pleased to go about it, given that the two hadn't spent nearly as much time together since Twilight was now more or less a resident in the castle. However, she wasn't quite expecting a very disgruntled Rainbow Dash to be trotting by at this point, Celestia not far behind, failing to stifle the amused snicker slipping out from behind her hoof. As Twilight wasn't exactly paying attention, and, to be fair, neither was Rainbow, the two plowed right into each other in the hall.
Ugh!
Both fillies blurted out upon their sudden, unmitigated collision. Celestia was able to put away her laughs long enough to ensure that the two were all right. She swiftly trotted up to the two and, satisfied that the only injuries were to their collective pride, gave a warm smile to Twilight.
Ah, Twilight, my faithful student. What are you up to?
Twilight was instantly on her hooves and bowing deeply to the princess, nose touching the floor.
Oh, your majesties! I'm so sorry. I wasn't watching where I was going. Twilight, you do know you don't need to call me by any sort of title, remember?
Rainbow snorted out, though she did find the sight of the bookish unicorn groveling like this to be quite amusing.
Right, sorry.
Twilight blushed slightly and stood back to her full height. She looked to Celestia and smiled tentatively.
Books on dragons, is it?
Celestia noted, approval in her voice.
A good thing to research, Twilight, given your latest edition.
She gestured to Spike.
Princess Sawa!
Spike spoke out, trying to mimic pony speech. Much like an infant foal first learning to talk, he didn't have the pronunciation down yet.
Yeah, mostly I kinda wanna know how it is he knows what we're talking about, even though he can't formulate his own responses yet.
Twilight replied, lifting the books in her magic once more.
Oh, is that a thing?
Rainbow asked, looking to the baby dragon who was now once more being nestled onto Twilight's back.
Not if you understand me. Bah!
Spike nodded at Rainbow, a hint of curiosity coming into his eyes.
Excellent.
Rainbow smirked, rubbing her hooves together. She then lifted into the air and drifted over so she could look Spike directly in the face.
Wanna know a secret? Rainbow, what are you doing?
Twilight asked suspiciously, turning to face Rainbow only for the swift Pegasus to maintain her position in Spike's face.
Yeah.
Spike babbled out, trying to say yeah and failing. Rainbow smirked and then leaned down to whisper something in Spike's ear.
Princess Celestia, please make her stop.
Twilight pleaded, looking up at Celestia with a worried expression.
Blah!
Spike proclaimed, swiftly bro-huffing with Rainbow Dash, who now wore a victorious grin.
Princess Celestia, may we have a word?
Came a voice that destroyed Rainbow's confident glow. Her disgruntled appearance returned and magnified, and her pupils dilated.
I gotta go, okay, thanks, bye!
She suddenly splurged out in rapid succession. Her wings buzzed, and, with no other word, she shot down the hallway so fast that Twilight blinked and missed it.
Huh?
Twilight mumbled, rubbing the back of her head in confusion. Celestia merely sighed, in mild exasperation.
Journalists.
One pony, a unicorn mare, galloped up to Princess Celestia, short of breath. In her light brown magical aura, she carried a notepad and quill. Behind her, a tall, fit unicorn stallion came to a stop with a camera swinging around his neck.
True Point, you gotta slow down a bit,
he wheezed, clutching a hoof to his chest.
I'm about to have a heart attack here.
The mare shot a glare at him.
Oh, hush.
She then turned her look back to Princess Celestia, quickly bowing respectfully.
Oh, 1,000 pardons for forgetting my manners, Your Highness. My name is Troop1 Quill. I'm a journalist and writer for the Canterlot News Network. I was in the crowd at the announcement and was wondering if I could get an interview in regards to Princess Rainbow Dash.
Celestia rolled her eyes with a resigned expression.
You may, but only on one condition. What would that be, Your Highness?
Truepoint asked eagerly. Celestia craned her neck down in order to look Truepoint in the eye.
Rainbow Dash is very new to this city and the ponies and customs within. I would be deeply appreciative if you don't pester her by trying to interview her after you're done with me. Make sure you mention that in your article so that every pony knows to respect her personal space. Do that for me, and I will be most grateful.
Truepoint nodded enthusiastically.
Oh, but of course! I swear you're now to not bother Rainbow Dash in any way, shape, or form. Very well then. You may proceed.
Celestia smiled before rising again and looking at Twilight.
Run along now, Twilight. I'll come find and check up on you when I'm done here. Okay. Bye for now, Princess.
Twilight gave a quick bow before scampering off once more, her books in tow. Rainbow Dash was almost hyperventilating when she finally stopped. She ducked around a corner and held a forehoof up to her chest in an effort to calm herself. After a few seconds, she peeked out from her hiding place.
Oh boy. Oh man, that was too close.
She whispered before easing back into the hallway. The announcement had been okay at first, and she'd mostly just stood there with the occasional flash of a camera from the crowd, but nothing overly exciting. And then, after some words, Princess Celestia had dropped the bomb, as it were. Rainbow would be seeing spots for weeks. She was pretty sure her ears were still ringing from the madness that had abruptly erupted. Her wave had died before she had even started it.
Oh man. I was not ready for that.
She mumbled before trotting down the hall again, making her way for her own room. Princess Rainbow Dash? Came a curious stallion's voice. Rainbow froze up, and she slowly turned around, ears flat against her head. She saw the undeniably eager faces of news ponies.
Oh, horse apples.
If it's not too much trouble, may I ask— Nope! Rainbow squeaked before zipping away again. The journalist was rather slow to close his suddenly limp jaw. I guess that answers that. Meanwhile, a long ways up the hallway, Rainbow skidded to a halt before the double doors that would take her to her new room. It was right next to Celestia's, so finding help with something at night was only ever a door away. She quickly hurled open the doors and sprinted through, not even bothering to close them behind her.
Please, privacy?
She muttered to herself over and over again, before once more sliding to a stop before the entrance to her room proper. She pulled on the handle and then frowned when it remained shut.
Oh, come on!
She growled. Princess Rainbow Dash? Came the mildly alarmed, deep voice of a stallion behind her.
Ah!
Rainbow shouted, covering her head with visibly shaking forehooves.
My room, too, is nowhere sacred!
You forgot your key, the stallion said, setting it down next to her, the armor on his barrel clinking somewhat from the movement. Rainbow turned and looked, recognizing him as one of the Solar Royal Guard. He let the typical stoic routine slide long enough for a smile to appear on his face. If you want to be left alone, I'll be more than happy to turn any overeager ponies away. Rainbow blushed slightly from her mistake.
Oh, yeah, that sounds awesome. Just, thanks.
She quickly scooped up the key, unlocked the door to her room, and then sealed herself within. The guard chuckled softly before allowing his blank, stoic expression to fall back into its practiced place. On the other side of the door, Rainbow buried her face in her hooves, back to the door.
That was so uncool.